it's Edie, and today's video is a little bit different. I'm actually sitting outside in my sunroom. It's raining and chilly, but it's still a beautiful day, so I'm sitting out in the sunroom with my little shawl on, and I'm gonna do a book review. I don't think I've ever done a book review on this channel. If I did, it was like several years ago, and it was probably like an art technique book, but I've never actually done a review of a novel. So today's video is going to be my first ever book review. And the book that I'm reviewing today is called The Memory Painter. Fuck, I know there's a glare. I hope that's good right there. The Memory Painter, and it's by Gwendolyn Womack. And the way I found out about this book was I was scrolling Facebook and someone posted that they were going to start reading the book The Fortune Teller by the same author. And I have a program through the military that allows me to check out books through the library, and that one wasn't available, but this one was. And so I figured, okay, well, they don't have the book that I actually want, but this will give me a chance to check out the author, see if I actually want to read the next one, or if it's not worth it. So I don't have a lot of time to sit down and actually read. I like to read, but one, it puts me to sleep. And two, I don't have a lot of time to actually just sit down and read, especially when I'm out driving. I can't get into a book because I'm constantly stopping, starting. So I don't have a lot of time to sit down and read. I've been reading the Gaia Codex for like 2 months now, and I only get to read a page or two in the morning while I'm eating my breakfast. Sometimes I'll read a whole 3 or 4 page chapter, but other than that, I don't sit down and just read. However, I love audiobooks. When I was working in the studio and doing art all the time, I used to have an audiobook playing almost every day, and it was soothing, and I could listen to the story and get into it and just kind of let my mind wander while I was doing the art. And I loved audiobooks, and I don't know why I hadn't thought about this before, but being a driver, I don't have time to sit and read, but I can listen all day long. So I checked out the audiobook version of this book. Again, let me pull it up. The Memory Painter. I checked out the audiobook version of it and had it in while I was driving. And I listened to the whole book in like 2 days, 3 days maybe. And really enjoyed it. I liked it so much that I wanted to do a book review. Which is saying something because I've never been moved to do a book review before. So, the premise of this book, I don't want to give too much away, but I want to tell you enough so that you would know whether or not you want to actually go read it or listen to it. I highly recommend it. I totally loved it. Was not expecting to love it. Didn't really know what it was about, but just checked it out because of who the author was and wanted to see if I wanted to read her second book. So the premise of the book is an artist through his whole life, he has remembered his past lives. And he remembers them through paintings. Well, he remembers them and then he paints them. So the story is following him in his present life, which is now, present time, but also you see flashbacks of all his past lives. And you find out that there is a science experiment involved, and that certain people, certain souls, keep repeating. They are all connected, and they all always come together and are connected again in each individual life. And you see how the same soul kind of travels through his different lives and how he interacts with these souls in each life. And I know it sounds complicated, and just explaining it, it is very complicated. But actually, let me see if I can read the excerpt. That might be that might be a smarter thing to do. Okay, so it's a pretty long description. I'm gonna cut it out and just read a little bit of it. 2 lovers who have traveled across time, a team of scientists at the cutting edge of memory research, and a miracle drug that unlocks an ancient mystery. Brian Pierce is an internationally famous artist whose paintings have dazzled the world, but there's a secret to his success. Every canvas is inspired by an unusually vivid dream. When Brian awakes, he possesses extraordinary new skills, like the ability to speak obscure languages and an inexplicable genius for chess. All his life, he's wondered if his dreams are recollections or if he is re-experiencing other people's lives. Let's see. I don't want to really tell you anymore. Yeah. So throughout the book, you see glimpses into his past lives and how these people are all interconnected. You also find out why he's having these dreams, why he remembers his past lives. It goes back to a science experiment, and how that science experiment has then crossed over into his next life. So I'm telling you, this is just a really good book. Like, even if you're not interested in past lives or any of that, it's a really good book, and it's an interesting story, and it's an interesting twist on past lives. So if you are interested in that, I highly recommend it. That was actually one of the things that drew me in. So I will tell you that ancient Egypt plays a huge role in this book. Throughout the book, it's not talking about ancient Egypt except in little snippets, but when it all comes down to it, it is all connected back to ancient Egypt. And so if you are someone who loves that ancient Egyptian theology and learning about the ancient Egyptian gods and the pyramids and that kind of information, then you will really dig this book. It's little glimpses of it, but once it gets to it, it's such a cool take on it, and I really like the way they incorporated it. I'm not someone who is typically interested in ancient Egypt. I don't study Egyptian history. I'm not drawn to or connected to the Egyptian gods in any way, but this story, I was like, dude, that is so fucking cool. So if you are interested in ancient Egyptian history and the ancient Egyptian gods, I would say give this book a try. If you're interested in past lives, dude, this book it will blow your fucking mind because of the way everything is intertwined and the way they talk about the souls and the way they talk about they, meaning the author, Gwendolyn Womack, the way the intertwined connection is explained is very interesting, and it really makes you think, and it really makes you stop and consider, holy shit, what if that's really like how it is? What if we really are connected to certain souls and meant to reconnect with them? What if we are meant to cross paths in multiple lifetimes? What if we have a soul connection, and maybe they're not going to always be our lover. Maybe it's not always going to be our husband, but we have this deep soul connection to another spirit, and they come into our lives as different people across different lifetimes, but yet we still have that connection. It's super, super thought-provoking and just like really deep once you think about it. I mean, on the surface, it's a light read, it's an easy read, it's a fun read, but if you're interested in past lives, it will make you think, and it will make you question so many things. It's super cool. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. And even if you're just looking for something to listen to that's just an enjoyable book, it's a really enjoyable book. And like I said, it's an easy read. So if you are sitting there reading it, there is some subject matter that is more on the scientific side, but it's presented in a way that's easy enough to understand for even someone who has no interest whatsoever in science, someone who flunked out of, biology 101. Like, you don't have to have a science background or be interested in science in order to understand the things that they're talking about. They do talk about some genetics a little bit. They talk about scientific formulas a little bit, but it's presented in a way that's very basic. Even Big Bang Theory is far more advanced as far as the scientific, the way they discuss the scientific aspects of the book. So it's a very easy read, very enjoyable. I couldn't put it down. I mean, it's an audiobook, but I literally couldn't turn it off. I had planned on just listening to it while I drove, and I played it the first day, and then I was like, oh, that's so good. And then the next day, as soon as I got in the car, I turned it back on and I listened to it all day long. And then I got home and I only had about, maybe an hour left. It was like 45 minutes. left of the book, and I could not turn it off. I had the book playing while I was finishing dinner and doing the stuff around the house because I just had to find out what happened. And there's a twist, like you think you've got it all figured out, and then you're like, holy shit, that's not how it was at all. It was this the whole time. Oh God, it's so good. It's super good. I really highly recommend it. So I plan to read or listen to the next book. I don't think they're connected. I don't think it's like a sequel, but it could possibly be. I read the description of the book, and it didn't actually say that it was a sequel, but it's close enough in subject matter that it may be related in some way. But the next book that I want to, I don't know if she has more books or not. I haven't done that much research, to be honest. But the other book by Gwendolyn Womack is called The Fortune Teller, and it also connects past lives with a fortune teller. So that's the one I really wanted to read, but I'm super glad I listened to this one first because it was highly enjoyable. So yeah, that is it for today's video. It's called The Memory Painter. I highly recommend it. For those of us on a witchy path, it's very interesting. Yeah, it does have that scientific baseline subject matter, but dude, it is so fucking cool, especially if you're into past lives. If you are into past lives, you have got to read this book. It's really good. I'm not even that interested in past lives. I will occasionally read little blurbs here and there about past lives, but it's not something that I study. I've never done my own past life study, or I've never even done a tarot reading for my own past lives. None of that. So I am not someone who is typically interested in past lives. However, this book has really made me stop and consider, like, holy shit, I wonder. So yeah, I really recommend it. All right, so that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this book review. Again, I've never done a book review, so I don't know what information you want to hear from me on book reviews. If I do other ones in the future, there is one more book that I'm going to review. I had not planned on it, but I posted something on Facebook and people were like, you got to do a book review about that. So the other book that I am going to actually review is the Warrior Goddess book. Warrior Goddess Training. Yeah, the Warrior Goddess Training book. I was not going to do it. I was so not going to do it, but I'm going to do the book review. So if you want to see more book reviews in the future, let me know, and let me know what kind of information you want in a book review, because for me, I want to hear the people's opinions. Yeah, it's nice to know how many pages are in the book and who the author is and what the book is about, obviously. But I want to know, when I watch someone do a book review, which is few and far between, mind you, I want to know their experience with the book. I want to know how the book made them feel. I want to know if they enjoyed the book, what parts they really liked. So that's kind of how I will present my book reviews, unless you ask me for something specific. Hey, tell us, how many pages are in the book, or tell us what year it was written, or whatever. So I hope I shared my thoughts articulately. And with this book, I didn't want to give too much away, just because of the twists that happen and kind of how things come full circle. I didn't really want to talk too much about the actual things that happen in the book, because I don't want to give anything away. But if you would like to hear me talk more about what actually happens in the books, then let me know that as well, and I can do that in the future if I do book reviews. I don't know if I'm going to do any other book reviews. It depends. Like, a book really has to move me in order for me to do a book review. And it can move me good or move me bad, but it really has to move me in some way in order for me to do a book review, which is why I did this one and why I have decided to do the Warrior Goddess Training book review. So yeah. All right, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, if you like what I do here, don't forget to hit the little subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. And then click the little bell. That way you get the notifications from YouTube. You have to subscribe and click the bell, because everywhere, Facebook, YouTube, all of them, they're just making it fucking impossible for our people to find out that we've uploaded shit, and it's driving me insane. So click the subscribe button and click the bell, because otherwise you won't know I did jack shit. So yeah, make sure you do both of those. And then hang out with me in the other places all over the internet, you can find the links for those down below. Really, it's just Edie's Cosmic Gathering Place. I mean, let's just be real here. So, oh, and Instagram. I am on Instagram as well. And I'm trying to be more on Instagram because I really dig it, but I feel like it's kind of cold. It's kind of cold. It's kind of one-sided, you know, but I'm learning. I'm learning to be more interactive on Instagram. So yeah, you can find the links for those places down below as well. Remember, you are fierce, you are fabulous, and you are fucking badass. So keep that shit up, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. Bye!